Most business owners have been here before. Something in the business breaks, a client is upset, a vendor maybe didn't get paid on time, or a project goes sideways. And as usual, the team rushes to you, the business owner, to tell them what to do. And every time that you swoop in and save the day, you are teaching your team to wait for you. And you might think that you are being nice and you're helping, but you're training your team that you will do the finishing touches anyway. And by the end of this video, you will understand the hero trap and why the thing that might feel like leadership is the exact thing that's making you the bottleneck of your company. And I know this because I ran a company where I was the answer to every hard question. It felt like importance. It was a structure problem. And the hardest part about that is that I had built it myself. And I'm going to show you how to take it apart and make sure it doesn't happen. But first, let me take a stab at what I think this might look like for you. If you're honest with yourself, when something breaks, or a client is upset, a project goes sideways, or a team member freezes on making a decision, and the call comes to you, which, let's be honest, it always comes to you, right? You handle it, you jump in, and you sort it out. You make it right. And you are really, really good at that, right? And then you're faster than anyone on the team because you have done it already like 10,000 times, right? This is nothing new. The fire goes out. You dealt with it, you tackled it, it got done, and people are relieved. And you feel that small, quiet hit of importance. And that's the kind that we're not really saying out loud, right? But that makes us feel good. And when it's time that it happens again next week, right? Different fire, different pattern, the same question sometimes keeps landing on your desk. And so you start to think you just have not hired the right people yet. And what if your team were just a little sharper or a little bit more experienced? They would stop needing you for so many things. And most owners that I've talked to have lived some kind of version of this. And I would love to hear from you below. Comment below. What is the one thing that your team keeps coming back to you for and asking you about? And let's be honest, you're not addicted to the work, right? You would rather not do that. But you jump in because the business needs you there, right? You wish you did not have to jump in, but it needs you. At least that's the story you tell yourself. The story feels true because every time you rescue someone, the rescue worked and the business seemed better because of it. And here's what most owners will miss, but before I name it, let me put it on the map. The Autonomous Leader Framework has 7 levels. From level 1, where you are the business and every dollar runs through your own 2 hands, all the way up to level 7, where the business runs at full capacity whether you are in the room or not. And most businesses doing 6 or 7 figures are stuck somewhere in the middle. They are stuck at level 3, which is the multiplier, where the team exists, the team is capable, but the owner is still the answer to every hard question. And that gap has a name. I call it the hero trap. And the hero trap is this: every time that you rescue, the rescue might solve today's problem, but it trains the mentality of tomorrow. And you think you're being a good leader by helping, but what you're actually doing is teaching your team to wait. And through consistent correction, through redoing their work, through being the final answer every single time, you have quietly built a team that asks before it acts. And here's the misdiagnosis that often happens. You think you have a people problem, that the team might not be good enough. Well, let me tell you this, you do not have a people problem. You have a power problem and a process problem. A power problem because you never transferred the authority to decide onto anybody else. And a process problem because the answer lives in your head instead of on a piece of paper or any page or a document. And that is not accessible to everyone. And here's the hard part about this. Every rescue is a missed chance to build a system or develop a person. That is really the real cost. Not the time that you lost that day, the dependence you deepen every time you save the day. If you're not sure if you're stuck in the hero trap, take the self-assessment, which is just linked below and completely free. It names the level you're stuck at and the move that gets you to the next level in your business. There's no email shenanigans, just clarity and understanding what to do next. So let me tell you how I found this in my own company. So for a long time, I was the person that everyone called when something broke. A hard client, or a stuck decision, or a problem that just nobody wanted to own. It came to me and I solved it, right? That's what we do as business owners. And I will be honest with you, I kind of liked it. Being needed felt like importance. It validated the work that I was doing. It proved that I was skilled, and I wanted that story to be true. And the hard part about this is that I fought the realization of what this is actually costing me way longer than I should have. What I finally admitted was really simple. Being needed and being valuable are not the same thing. So I really just made one rule. I only solve problems on Fridays. That was it. If something's broke on Tuesday, well, it waited. And the strangest thing happened. Most of the problems solved themselves before Friday ever came. And the team handled them because I was no longer standing there ready to catch the ball. Only the real problems, the ones that genuinely needed me, made it to the end of the week. And when I solved those, I did it out loud. I explained how I was thinking, what was going through my mind, what am I weighing, what options am I considering, so that the next time they could think it for themselves. And over time, the default answer stopped being me. I did not hire a new team. I stopped rescuing the team that I already had. And through that, trained them in decision-making ability and gave them the power to do the work themselves. So here's the reframe that I want to place in you. The next time a fire lands on your desk, you are standing at a fork. Not do I help or not help. The real question is this a missing system or is it missing a developed person? If the same problem keeps coming back, it's a system gap. And the answer exists. It just lives in your head and you have just never written it down somewhere. And if the problem is new, but a capable person froze instead of deciding, it's a development gap. They have the ability. They have never been handed the authority to actually use that ability. And a rescue answers neither. A rescue just resets the clock until the next fire. And the move is to spend the same amount of energy that you would have spent saving the day on closing those two gaps instead. And when you do that, something changes that is hard to describe until you actually feel it. The questions slow down, not because your team got smarter overnight, because they finally have somewhere to look that is not you. You stop being the bottleneck that the business has to route through, and you start being the architect who designed it not to need you for small things. And present by choice, not by necessity. And that is the whole point. So what do you do? What do you do this week to make this happen? Here's how you can make progress on this gap and this trap this particular week. 1, pick a fire. Not all of them, right? Don't have everything at once. One recurring problem that keeps landing on your desk. Name it specifically. And do me a favor and comment it below and share what that problem is. 2, call the fork. Decide honestly, is this a missing system or is it missing a developed person? Most owners know the answer in 2 seconds if they let themselves think. 3, if this is a system, write the answer once instead of solving it once. 1 page, the decision, the options you're considering, the steps, and the line where they decide, and the line where they have to come to you to decide. If the decision is influencing bottom line by X, come to me. And this can literally live in a Google Doc, right? It doesn't have to be overly complicated. This is really, really simple. And you're not building a manual here, right? You are getting one answer out of your head and onto a page your team can reach when you're not there. I want you to make this simple. Don't overcomplicate this. We can make this more complicated and prettier and beautiful later. Right now, we're just gonna make it work. Let's move on to number 4. If this is a person, transfer the whole outcome, not just the task. And find the person that you want to give this to, give them the entire result, start to finish, and tell them plainly, from here on out, this is yours and I will not be taking it back. And then write down a few decisions that they now own without asking you. And make yourself available to coach them. It could be something like, every week I want to meet with you for 50 minutes where we talk about, this is the stuff that's coming up. Tell me how you're thinking about this. And then help me understand what your recommended action here is. And then I will give you some guidance around that decision. And sometimes I will say, hey, that's a great idea. I really like how you thought about this. And sometimes I will say, hey, have you considered this? And that little bit of coaching can go a long way. And 5th, you have to hold the line. When they bring it back to you, and let's be honest, of course they will, right? They will try at least. The first few times, coach them. do not rescue them. And sometimes we have to accept outcomes even if they're not exactly how we would have done it. And the first time that the team sees that kind of authority once given and is not quietly reclaimed, the whole team dynamic changes. Of course, be very cautious about accepting things that will impact the bottom line in a tremendous way, right? Hand over things that are very controlled at first, and then we can progress on to other things. And that is the 5 steps for this week. And if you're getting any kind of value out of this, please subscribe. On this channel, we help business owners grow into autonomous leaders. And that is the owner who gets to make the most important thing inside the business and outside of it. And solving the hero trap is one move towards exactly that. I want to leave you with this. The hero trap is hard to see because saving the day feels like the job. It feels like leadership. For a long time, I could not tell the difference between being needed and being a leader. The gap between those two is where most owners will lose years. And you've already proven that you can build a business. The work now is building one that does not need you to run it. Every fire that you do not put out yourself and instead turn into a system or a person that is able to solve that problem is one brick in building that business that runs without you. The Autonomous Leader has a community where owners do this exact work. You can find the link to that community in the description. We would love to have you in there. We would love to hear from you, and we'd love to help you along the way. It is completely free and you can join at any time. And there's also resources in there that help you with this kind of documentation and authority transfer that we just talked about. So here's the question I want you to sit with. If your team stopped bringing you every single fire, what would you finally have the time to make the most important thing?